What is up guys, Stark here. I am back again with another character spotlight, and in today's character spotlight I am taking a look at Vlad. Now I'm going to take a look at the Lancer version of Vlad, who is a 4-star servant in the previous Halloween banner. So as I mentioned, he's a 4-star and he's going to be a Lancer in this version of himself as opposed to the Berserker that we got initially at the start of the game. And at level 80 he will go up to 13,005 HP and he will have 8,775 attack, so this will rank him 33rd overall in HP and 74th overall in attack. So he's got average attack for a 4-star servant, but he's got really good HP for a 4-star servant, and this kind of plays into his strengths and his play style as a character, which we'll talk about a little bit when we get to his skills. If you do decide to max him out though, he will end up with 15,769 HP and 10,625 attack. For his additional stats, his star weight is 88 and his star gain is 11.6%. For his Noble Phantasm generation on the attack, it's going to be 1.1, and on defense is going to be 4%. So he has some very good Noble Phantasm generation, and he's got some pretty solid crit generation. So moving on here and taking a look at his skills, his first skill is going to be the Protection of the Faith A+++. And this will have 4 different effects, the first one being increases his own debuff resistance for 3 turns. The second one is going to recover his own HP. He will also increase his own defense for 1 turn and his attack for 3 turns. So he's got quite a lot going on in this skill, and everything that he gets is very good. It starts on a 7-turn charge time, goes down to 5 turns, so once you max the skill out, you're definitely going to be able to recycle it very often, and the effects are very good as well. You know, you can heal up to 2,500 HP on the heal, you get a 40% increase to your defense, and you get a 20% increase to your attack. So overall, this is a fantastic skill, and this will definitely help play into his third skill when we get there. But right now, we're going to take a look at his second skill, which is going to be the Tactics B, which will increase his party's Noble Phantasm damage for 1 turn. So this is a moderate increase, going up to 18% at level 10 on a 5-turn charge time. Again, it's very low charge time, so you can recycle this. But the thing I really like about this skill, and maybe other people might disagree with this, but the fact that it only has 1 effect might seem like it's bad or not as good as other effects. But I really like the skill in the fact that it's purely there waiting for your Noble Phantasm turns. And there's no extra effects to be used, to be wasted. You just wait for whenever you're going to use your Noble Phantasm, use this skill, and you're good. It's got a 5-turn charge time, so, you know, if you have to wait a little bit longer to use it, you can go ahead and use it, and it'll charge back really fast. Probably before you get your Noble Phantasms ready, unless you're doing some sort of, like, Noble Phantasm spam setup or something like that. So the fact it only has 1 effect, I really like. I really think that actually helps this character overall. And then for his third and final skill is going to be the Innocent Monster A. Now this will grant himself critical stars every turn for 3 turns, and it will also draw attention to himself for 1 turn, so like a taunt skill. So you do get a few stars here. You get 10 stars at max level for 3 turns, and again this is going to be on a 5-turn charge time at max level. And the main focus here is going to be the taunt skill that it provides. So as I said previously, he does have a lot of HP, and his first skill will help him survive longer. And being able to draw the attention of enemies onto himself is going to be very helpful for his other allies to get in whatever sort of offense they want, and they don't have to worry about being killed in retaliation. So overall, he's got a very good skill set. One character that I really stuck out to me to pair him up with is going to be Mash. Anytime you have a character that has taunt, you ideally would like them to not have to even take that damage. And Mash provides that with her skills being able to apply invincibility to Vlad, so he can use his taunt, she can use invincibility, and then he won't even take any damage. And she's also a shielder, so she'll be able to increase his defense with her other skills, as well as her attack, or his attack rather. But yeah, Mash is a really good combination to pair Vlad up with. That's pretty much the only character that I really wanted to talk about in this section. There are other options you can use. I don't want to touch on them too much. But like David, characters that can provide evasion do the same thing as Mash. So anything you can use to get Vlad to avoid attacks or just not take damage on the turn he uses his taunt is going to be very helpful for you in the long run. Moving on to his passives, he only has 1, and that is going to be the Magic Resistant C, which will increase his debuff resistance by 15%. So now for his Ascension. On his first Ascension, he's going to need 4 Lancer pieces and 50,000 Quantum pieces. For his second Ascension, he's going to need 10 Lancer pieces, 18 Proof of Heroes, and 150,000 Quantum pieces. For his third ascension, he's going to need 4 Lancer Monuments, 24 Chains of Fools, 3 Black Beast Greases, and 500,000 Quantum Pieces. And then for his final ascension, he's going to need 10 Lancer Monuments, 5 Black Beast Greases, 4 Dragon Scales, and 1.5 million Quantum Pieces. As for his skill enhancements, to max his skills out from 1 to 10, you're going to need 14 Gems of the Lancer, 14 Magic Gems of the Lancer, 14 Secret Gems of the Lancer, 36 Chain of Fools, 36 Proof of Heroes, 20 Octuplet Crystals, 8 Demon Hearts, 1 Crystallized Lore, and 27,200,000 Quantum Pieces. Moving on to his command card deck, he is going to have a balanced command card deck with 2 Quick, 1 Arts, 2 Busters, and they all have decent hit counts, 3 on both the Quick and the Buster cards, 2 on the Arts, and 5 on his extra attack. So combo that with his decent Noble Phantasm generation, and you should be able to get his gauge filled pretty quickly naturally. As for his Noble Phantasm, it's going to be a Buster Noble Phantasm, so that does open up the potential of Buster Chains. And it is going to deal damage to a single enemy that will ignore invincibility, as well as his other attacks for 1 turn. And he will also deal extra damage to enemies with the Evil Alignment, and that is going to be his Overcharge effect. It does a really good amount of damage, even if you don't count in the fact of his bonus damage for evil servants, or just evil enemies in general. It does a pretty good amount of damage if you apply the bonus status effect, or whatever you want to call it, onto it. It's one of the more powerful Noble Phantasms for the Lancer class, and just in general, so it's going to do a ton of damage. It's going to be very effective against pretty much most boss fights, really. So, you know, if you have this character with this Noble Phantasm, you're going to do a ton of damage with him. And now moving on to some of his craft essences. The first one is going to be his Maximum Bond Craft Essence, which is going to be the Faith in the Depths of the Earth. And while equipped, this will increase Quick and Buster card effectiveness of all of your allies by 10%. Next up, we have a craft essence that is very effective when you want to rely on your Noble Phantasm, and that is going to be the Black Grail, which will increase his Noble Phantasm damage by 60%. However, this will decrease his HP by 500 every turn. But we do have a heal on our first skill, so we can offset that for a good majority of it. And generally in speaking, you could just offset it completely. At max level, you'll get 2500 HP a turn, and it has a 5-turn charge time, so you will lose 2500 HP from Black Grail, and you'll just get it back when you use your skill to heal yourself back. So it's pretty null and void at that point. Another good option to use is going to be the Grand New Year. This will grant himself Taunt for 1 turn, as well as Invincibility for 1 turn, as well as increasing his debuff resistance by 10%. So this pretty much goes back to what I was talking about before, where anytime you have Taunt, you want Invincibility on this character, and this Craft Essence provides it. I mean, it only lasts for 1 turn, but it can also delay your setup and your skills from being active. So it basically just gives you a second chance at using your skills, so you could save that for when you really need it. So it's a pretty solid craft essence to use. And last but not least, we have the Limited Zero Over, which will increase his Buster card effectiveness by 25%. He can get Buster Chains, so anytime you can do that, you generally want to throw on some sort of craft essence to increase the Buster card effectiveness. So now moving on to the review portion of the spotlight, where I hand out the star rankings. For his stats, he's going to get 4.3 stars. For his skills, he's going to get 4 stars. He's got a pretty good balance of skills. His first skill and his third skill complement each other pretty well. And as I said before, I really am a fan of the second skill only having 1 effect, and you could just save that for when you need to use it. For his Noble Phantasm, I'm giving him 4.5 stars. It is a very powerful single target Noble Phantasm, and definitely one of the highest in the Lancer class at this point in time. So I think it's deserving of that, especially if you are going against an evil alignment enemy, which there are a lot of in the game. For his survivability and versatility, I'm giving him 4 stars apiece. For his survivability, he might have gotten a little bit of a higher ranking here, but he does have the taunt. And when you do have a taunt skill, it naturally just makes it harder or easier for you to be killed. He does have his first skill that offsets this, but when you're just taking in a full amount of damage from the enemy team, unless you're using like the combo I said where you want to put invincibility or evasion on him in order to avoid those attacks, you will drop really fast regardless of how much HP you have. But overall though, he does still have good survivability outside of that, so I did award him 4 stars. As for the versatility, again I said it gets 4 stars. he can find his way onto a lot of teams. He does have a really good Noble Phantasm and a really good skill set. He does need a little bit of support to help his taunt go off without getting too many issues there. But other than that, you can generally throw him onto a lot of teams and you'll have some good success with that. And that'll give his overall ranking a 4.2 out of 5. He's not a character I would necessarily go out of my way to pull for, but if I do pull him at some point in time, I would not be disappointed. So that's going to wrap up this spotlight, guys. I will leave you here with Vlad's Noble Phantasm, and I'm going to be doing Chloe next week. So if you guys have any suggestions for top servants you want to see in this video, then just go ahead and post those in the comments below, and you might just see them in the video next week. But until then, guys, I'll see you guys later.